about ethics.
Oh, ethics.
You know, in 2009, you know,
Yeah.
I've been doing this in 2-3, and I had
Yeah.
to summarize it up somehow.
Right.
And I made a document in Danish called The Ethical Timeline, where I said what had happened since 2001 until 2009.
Right.
And in this document, I keep coming, you know, we have the right to defend ourselves if we are being invaded. If
Right.
someone is coming into this house with a shotgun now,
Yeah.
and threatening to shoot you,
Yeah.
I can do something to prevent that.
Yeah.
That's our right to defend
Right.
ourselves. Here we are being invaded, attacked by something that comes through the walls, through our skulls,
Yeah.
into our children. We have the right to defend ourselves, actually.
Yep. Yep. Yes. Quite true.
And what I encourage people to in this document, it's original 50 pages in Denmark, then I made a little appetizer for people in 7 pages, is really, we need to take self-responsibility, because it's not coming from government, it's not coming from Cancer Institute, it's not coming from outside. We need to take the responsibility ourselves to look at our phones we give to our little children and
Yeah.
say, as long as we don't have any security about what this does, it makes us ill, of course, and kills us.
Yeah.
We have to remove it. We are the power, because we are 7 billion people, or 6 billion, or how many we are. If people stop using mobile phones, if they stop buying all these things, it's very vulnerable. The industry will collapse
Yep.
fast, because they are only built on more increase. And as soon as that increase tips over, it goes very fast backwards.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're right.
So it's all about responsibility, but how can we make people take that responsibility? We have all been conditioned that it's government and a healthcare system that will take care of us, but we see today that they don't.
Yeah. You can't. In order to do that, you would need to get an organisation like the BBC to make programmes about how dangerous these things are. Now, the BBC doesn't answer to anyone other than government. And the people at the very, very top, nobody knows what industries they belong to. They are secret of the BBC. They are secret. Nobody knows what industries they represent, what boards they sit on. I mean, when we have a corrupt government, as we've had, probably our most corrupt government ever, and the BBC needs the government, there hasn't been a single programme within, or many, many, many years from the BBC about this. Not one. I know I'm on a banned list from the BBC because sometimes there are radio programmes and I ring up and say, you know, you're wrong here because of this. My letters, my comments are never ever read out. And I've been told the BBC has a blacklist of people it must not communicate with. Hence, when I said yesterday, when David Attenborough wrote to me and said, contact Neil Nightingale, I wrote 3 times and I phoned twice, nothing. You know, they will not talk to me. So when you have an organisation like the BBC blocking the information going out, there is nothing else you can do. And you have the papers, the big papers that take all the advertising from the industry. Now, I am one story on one day. Mobile phones will kill your children. One story on one day. The advertising is every single day forever and ever and ever. And they make millions from this. So until you get the media on your side, the only thing you can do, the only thing I can do, is what I'm doing now, is work every day, answering questions, writing letters, seeing people like yourself. I know I'm on the internet, but people probably wouldn't bother to look at it anyway. The parents themselves in this country in some cases are bullied by their children. The children want the next phone, and they bully their parents to get the next phone, and the children will use their phones.
But there, I have called for, in Denmark, you know, I've contacted, like, we have, it's called the national TV, like BBC in Denmark, and I've sent DVDs for 50 of the top people in summer. No response.
No,
of course, I'm also on some kind of list, so perhaps just use another name in the future. That's easy, you know, it's just write another name, then you're another person.
But, I mean, the BBC won't do anything against the industry.
No.
Because they make a lot of money from the industry.
Yeah. But parents, you know, I know they are bullied, and they also have a law, I guess, in England, as in Denmark, that if children are complaining about their parents, you know, the parents can get in trouble. It's the Nazi paragraph or something like that. But, you know, parents, they should really stretch their backbone a little bit and then add a little more ethics to that one. Because, you know, what will parents say in 10, 20, 30 years when they have a child that's in the grave? Or when they have a child who's in an Alzheimer home?
That's when, as I said, the one thing the industry cannot do is stop people dying.
Yeah.
Now, how many children will have to die before the parents suddenly say, well, hang on, there were 1,000 people in this school, and 300 of them have now died of leukemia.
Within 2 months.
And we've got a transmitter here. And they start then, but it won't be until then, because parents are too busy. Both of them work, they're very tired, they can't take on their children, they can't take on the industry. There's nowhere in this country, there is nowhere for a parent to complain to. I'm seeing at the moment the Minister of Schools on behalf of a parent, and the Minister has said, I can't do anything. He said that, I cannot do a thing to get Wi-Fi out of schools, and he's the Minister of Schools.
Yeah.
So
they have no power.
And that's where it finishes. You know. So what can you do next?
Yeah, the challenge is really what I see in Denmark with all the people I communicate with and the ones who have children. Some have even told me most are not. They're not being honest. They talk a lot, but when it comes to action, there's no action.
Yeah.
But they are really afraid. They are afraid because what will the other parents talk about them? What will the school board say? Will their children be bullied because the parents want to have this Wi-Fi? You know, they are afraid of what other people might think about them, their own reputation and so. And I say, this is about the future generations. This is about your own children. It doesn't matter what other people think, because this is the most precious we got.
Oh yeah, we are going to destroy a generation.
Or more.
Or more, yeah. We are going to cause illness and suffering right across the world for not just this generation, the next one and the next one. The repercussions of this, as I said yesterday, the whole of the female line will have this until there are no more females in that line. So this this will go on now maybe for 20, 40, 60 years, the damage we're doing today. You know, in 60 years' time, genetically damaged girls will be born from the damage caused today.
There was a movie coming out in 2007 called The Children of Men. It was a British movie, and it was playing out a scenario in 2027 where the youngest person on planet Earth dies 18 years old, and that means 2009. Actually, the scenario is almost mirroring the microwave story here, but it's another time. But it was actually quite scary because they were protecting this black woman who was pregnant.
Yeah.
And it was like they were having a war over her because she was carrying the key, actually, to having new babies coming.
Yeah. In 60 years' time, maybe 80 years' time, this will still be causing problems, but the people will have made their money. They will have lived in their big houses with their Rolls Royces and their yachts, and they don't care. And that is the problem that we have. And it's down to people like you and I to try and educate. And maybe with these 2 court cases, but I have had some success. I know when I was in Canada, I gave, I think it was 23 television, radio, and I was exhausted, press interviews. And I have heard that the school I went out to represent, Collingwood School, they have now taken Wi-Fi out of that one school. So we won that battle. But the next schools, the parents have now said, well, hang on a minute. If it's dangerous there, it's dangerous here. And they are taking their Wi-Fi out. So it's going...
The ball has started to roll.
The ball has started to roll in Canada.
Yeah.
It's started to roll in France, not just because of me. I spoke to a lot of French experts.
But all together, we're all working like...
Yeah, and it's rolling in France.
Yeah.
So we are getting countries now
Yeah.
doing this. And this is the way to go, I think. I've got the court case in America. And if I can get all of the Wi-Fi whipped out of American schools, then the rest of the world will look and say, well, hang on. So there is a way to beat this industry, and
that's the right intention, and you got the spirit.
Oh yeah, I shall just plod on.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time, Barrie. It's been really a pleasure meeting you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.